joined by David DeRoche, who's professor at the Thayer Marshall Institute. Thank you, David, for being with us on Al Jazeera again. Just looking first at the impact on oil and shipping. How big is it going to be if this conflict drags on?
It's going to be big, but you know, the only reliable ally that Iran has, and they're not even a military ally, but the support that they rely on is from China. So there's this paradoxical problem where if Iran shuts the Strait of Hormuz, stops the shipment, the greatest sufferer there is China. China is their most reliable partner. So presumably it's a strategic dilemma for Iran.
Right.
Oil prices could spike. That will be felt more by some countries than others. The biggest concern is Western Europe, which is in the process of weaning itself off of Russian natural gas in order to support Ukraine. So there may be price spikes there, energy spikes there. Some of this will be made up by imports from other markets that are closer, like Algeria for natural gas, possibly the United States, Canadian oil. But it will have an effect, probably about $20.
Right now, the Iranians are threatening to shut the Strait of Hormuz. And of course, all eyes are on the markets, right? What will happen on Monday morning when the markets open? A big sustained spike will surely have an impact, don't you think, on President Trump's strategy? Will that make him reconsider this operation, you think?
It won't make him reconsider the operation. If he has a strike, at least in the short term, he'll view that as a momentary spike that will pass. President Trump, in his State of the Union address, had a passage where he talked about how gasoline prices had lowered under his presidency compared to Joe Biden's presidency. And gasoline prices are one of the few commodities that everybody in America has to buy daily, and you're always aware of the price because it's on signs as you go by the road. President Clinton used to be briefed on gasoline prices every day as part of his morning brief. So this is significant. But, you know, the United States is now a net exporter of oil. And we have a lot of, paradoxically, if the oil prices rise, a lot of unexplored, unexploited fields in the United States that are not economically recoverable at current prices will become economically recoverable and can go back into business much more quickly than in the past.
Right. You talked about China, David, and we've already seen an impact on China when it comes to what happened in Venezuela.
Yes.
And now the situation here. Is this also all about the rivalry between the United States and China? Is this also a way to hit China in a way?
I don't think that we're capable of being that sophisticated. I think this is an Iran issue, and China may have a secondary impact. China has a lot of money. So, you know, oil is a global market. If there's a barrel for oil for sale and China needs it, they can probably pay more than anybody else, and they will need it. So it will be an inconvenience for China, but it's not like a blockade. It won't have a security impact or a strategic effect.
Right. What about for the countries in this region? Qatar, which, of course, exports a lot of LNG. How will they be affected economically if this conflict drags on?
Depends on how long it goes. Obviously, if the conflict goes on months or years, then you start to get financial pressures. But in the short term, what's more significant than oil coming out is food coming in. And that is a concern not just for Qatar, but all of the GCC states. So I think that, you know, historically, the way you could mitigate that was by going from the Red Sea overland, but now you have issues with the Bab el-Mandeb as well. So I think the greatest short-term impact will probably be on imports of fresh food supplies that are imported from outside.
What about the longer-term impact, you know, the volatility in this region now for financial centers like Dubai, for example? What do you see the long-term impact of this being?
Well, the long-term impact to Dubai in particular has already been inflicted, and I don't think that bell can be unrung because a lot of Dubai's expertise depends on its reputation as a very safe place to do business, to live as a family, and Dubai is able to attract expatriate talent from all over the world because of the quality of life, the low taxation. If there is a possibility that Iran is going to attack civilian infrastructure there, as they have, that removes a lot of the attractiveness of Dubai. I think that skilled expatriates will expect a premium, a danger premium, for future postings in Dubai. So there already has been damage there.
Thank you so much. Very interesting to talk to you. David DeRoche joining us here on Al Jazeera. Well, earlier